Hi, Effie, Antonio. You're welcome to Just Women Africa.
Thank you for having me.
Could you just tell us briefly about yourself? Who's Effie Antonio?
Okay, who is Effie Antonio? How do I even answer this question? Effie Antonio is someone who loves to help people. I'm very compassionate. I love to see people happy. I feel fulfillment in being able to help someone and seeing smiles on the face of the person, you know. So in short, I would just say Effie Antonio is someone who loves to see people happy, and that's how come I started my foundation, Effie Antonio Foundation. About my foundation, I started 5 years ago. I registered it on the 5th of March, which is my birthday. Yes, so my foundation turned 5 on the 5th of March, and I turned 41. I don't look my age, yeah, so anytime I mention my age, people are like, you are kidding, but yeah, I thank God for good genes. My dad is very smallish, so I took after him. And I set out to help people using my social media handle. That's how I started. I'm a photo model, so in the days of High Five, I don't know if you people remember High Five. If you're not very old, I'm not sure you remember High Five. Yeah. So I was on High Five. I'll post photos and I'll get likes and comments. You know, I was loving it and all that. So I gathered some following. I'm like, so what can I do with my following instead of just posting photos for like and comments? Let me use my space to do something positive. So when I went on Facebook, you know, because people knew me on High Five, it was easy to, you know, get them following me on Facebook as well. So I started doing that on Facebook and all my other social media handles. I will see someone who needs help and use my handle to amplify the help, and then I get people, my followers, you know, supporting and all that, and I'm able to help the people out, be it paying for surgeries, you know. That's what I've done a lot with my foundation, paying for surgeries. I've done a lot of that, even sent a little girl to South Africa for a cochlear implant and all that, you know. And then the autism thing came in. I didn't set out to do anything on autism. It just happened just through the photo modeling thing. Mother posted the daughter with autism that she needed someone to help her become a photo model, because persons living with autism, they can't talk, you know, they can't really have a conversation. So, and she's beautiful, she had a beautiful skin, and someone commented under the post with my name. That's how come I saw the post. So when I saw it, I was like, how can I help this girl? I had booked a photo session with Kweku David. He was a very big photographer then in those days, you know. So I quickly called him and asked if he would be okay that I came with a girl for my photo shoot. He was like, he's okay, he doesn't have a problem. So we went for the photo shoot. The photos went viral. Other mothers saw it and started contacting me that they want me to train their child or their children to be also models. So that's how I ended up in the autism space. BBC also saw the pictures thanks to Linda Ikeji. She posted about it, and BBC saw it, and they asked Peter Okoche to come and find out how I'm able to direct the children to pose, because the poses they see and they can't believe that they had autism, you know. So Peter Okoche came to interview the parents, and they filmed a session of us having a photo shoot, you know, and all that. So that's how come I ended up in the autism space. So with my foundation, what we focus on is education, women empowerment, and health. So autism happens to be under the health, and me raising funds to pay for surgeries and other things also is under the health. I started my foundation, I think 2018, because we are 5 years this year, if my maths is right. And some of the challenges has always been challenges everywhere as financial, you know, getting funding to do what I do, because I raise funds a lot. Example, the girl I had to send to South Africa, the money involved was very huge, and we had 2 little girls who needed the same help, but because the money was huge, we could only help one person. They had a condition called Waardenburg syndrome, which needed an implant called cochlear implant. So with Waardenburg syndrome, some of the children have colored eyes, so they had blue eyes. They can see perfectly well. It's just that they have hearing impairment. They can't hear, and they can't, because you know our hearing is linked to our talking and everything, so they can't also talk as well. But with the implant, it will help them be able to hear, and also with speech therapy they'll be able to talk. And because the money was very huge, I think both of them we needed $100,000, something like that. So we got only half part of the money, and it took like a year and some months. That was the most challenging how do I put it, fundraising I've ever done, because it took a long time for us to get part of the money to send the girl to South Africa for 1 year to have the implant. It was very crazy. I tried reaching out to individuals who I feel had money and could help, but you know, people around them never made it possible to meet them, like Despite, like the McDans, you know, all these people. I tried reaching out, but it didn't work out. I also went to radio stations, TV stations with a little girl and a mom to see how it will go. Like, even wrote proposals to some companies for support. It never happened. So it was all through social media. The money we got was from social media, our followers on social media, and part also from the Mother's Church. They also contributed. So I always want to remember to say thank you to all my followers on social media, because they have made me who I am today, and have made my foundation what it is today. Without them, Afia Antonio Foundation won't be anywhere. Yeah, so challenges is funding, and I haven't had any corporate institution supporting me aside Verna Mineral Water, who always supports me like with everything I do. From the word go, when I started Autism Talent Show, that was what I started with before, you know, changing it into the pageant, and they have been there throughout day one. Aside Verna, no other company. Okay, so why Mr. and Miss Autism, the objective and all that? When I started working with children living with autism, I realized one thing. Most of their parents don't feel comfortable coming out with their children because of the stigma. You know, there's a lot of stigma. People say they are river children. Some say the parents are cursed. So they try as much as possible to leave them at home when they are going out. Some people don't even know they have children. Some even don't want people to know that they have children or have a child that has autism. And I thought about that. I'm like, what can I also do to help? So as I'm speaking now, I'm like a sort of advocate. Every April is set aside for autism awareness, the whole of April. So I try as much as possible to use my social media handles to preach about what autism is and all that. So I started with Autism Talent Show, the first ever Autism Talent Show in Ghana. That was 4 or 5 years ago. That was the first autism show I did. I wanted society to come and see what these children can also do. And I think through that they would also understand these children are not what they perceive them to be, so that it will be easier for them to accept and love them, to help curb the stigma. That way the parents will also feel comfortable going out with their children. So when I did the first talent show, I sat down, thought about it, and I'm like, why not change it into a pageant. So that I'll be doing it annually in April, since April is the month for autism awareness. So I did that, and this year will be the 3rd edition for Mr. and Miss Autism. So the main motive behind it is to create that awareness, allow the society to come and see what they can also do. I feel when a parent who has a child with autism sees a billboard and see those with crowned and it's written Mr. and Miss Autism, she'll be like, oh, so my child can also be like this and one day be on the billboard, you know. So it's like it will boost their morale and they will feel like their children also have something to offer, you understand. So that's the main motive behind Mr. and Miss Autism, to help, you know, curb the stigma, so that parents will feel free to walk about with their children without the fear of being laughed at or mocked. I remember the story. With every pageant we do, I visit all the contestants at home. We film a short documentary about them. And this year, one of the participants, the mom, was narrating the story of one of her friends. She didn't even know that the friend had a child with autism. So she said she has twin boys, both of them are on the spectrum, they both have autism. So she says every time the friend will come and visit them, she'll bring a gift to her sons, her twin boys, every time. So she asked her, why do you always bring gifts to my boys? And the friend told her that I want my son to forgive me through this act. And she was like, how? She said she once had a child like her sons, but then they made a cage and was caging the boy. And she asked, you and who? She said the mom and herself, they made a cage and was caging the boy, and finally the boy died at a point. So when she comes to her and she sees the way she treats her children, the way she's happy, she regrets doing what she did to the son. So she wants the son to forgive her for doing that to him through what she's doing for his twin boys. So you see, a lot of parents are doing imaginable things to their children just because they have some form of disability. So it is my prayer that through this, one day we'll be stigma free and every parent can walk around with their children. So that's the main motive behind Mr. and Miss Autism. So the little way I can help, you know, to sensitize the society to help make these children's life a little comfortable is what I'm doing in my space, what I can do. Since I'm a photo model, I'm doing something around that. That's why I put together the pageant. So I feel this will go a long way to help. And also the government, I think the government has a lot to do. When it comes to disability in general, I don't think the government is doing a lot to help, you know, because there are people who are using wheelchairs, a lot of buildings it's not accessible, and you know, when we want to talk about disability in general, this country, the government is not doing a lot for them at all. So I think that the government needs to do a lot. Like with children living with autism, their parents, they go through a lot and they need some respite. You know, if the government can have a place that parents with persons living with autism can go maybe once every weekend or twice a month or something like that, so their children can also have a place where people will be there to take care of them, for their parents to also have some, you know, me time, because it is the children throughout. Your eyes, you know, you have to monitor them throughout, and it's not an easy thing. Caregivers are doing a lot. And when it comes to centers that the children attend, their fees is so high. So if government can at least build some centers that is government owned to subsidize the school fees for some of the parents who don't have money, you know, to pay those huge amounts in the private places, they can also send their children to school. One of my contestants from Cape Coast. Yes, the mom is a single mother, and it always happens that the men leave the women with the children when it comes that they have a special needs child. So this woman is a single mother. She's trying to, you know, feed herself, feed the child, and because of the fees, her child is at home and can't attend the school. So she was asking if I can talk to the special needs school in Cape Coast, so they can take her on like sponsorships, so she won't be able to, since she can't pay for the fees, if they can take her on for free. So if government has you know, centers like that around, it will help parents who don't have the money to also be able to send their children to school, because it's only intervention that can help the children be independent. Without that, it's very difficult. Potty training them and all that, it takes special care people to do that. So it's very difficult. The government needs to help with that. Yeah, I think so. The future plans for my foundation. Sometimes I think I dream too big. My future plans, I'm praying to be able to get support, to have a facility where you enter, you have a clinic, you have a training grounds for children, persons living with autism. We have a school, like it would be like a mini, should I say village or community, where we have everything, and we can have a place for the aged. You know, there are people who, when they are traveling, they need a place to send their old mother and father to, you know, be taken care of. We'll have a place like that. It is my prayer that I'll be able to have a place like that, so that I can continue what I do, because I love what I do. I do it with passion. Despite the difficulties, some of the parents will, the people you are helping will stab you at the back and all that, but in all this, I'm still doing it. You know, if you are doing all these things because of man, you stop at a point, but it's because I have the passion, I have the zeal, and I feel it's my calling. So no matter the difficulties, the challenges, I'm still trying to push through and pull through it. So it is my prayer that I'll have a place like that, and I won't be, and I'll have maybe partners outside, because I feel people in the US, the UK understand better what I do, and I will get a lot of support there. If I were to be there doing this, I won't be struggling for sponsors, for people to support me and all that. I will have that very easily. I have a lot of people saying that, hey, if you were outside Ghana, you were doing this, you won't struggle with all that you are doing. I literally begging people to support this cause. They don't see the need why they should support something like this, and it's very sad, you know. So I'm praying that in future I won't have to struggle to get people to buy into the idea. It will be easy to get people to, you know, support what I do. So we leave it in the hands of God, that hopefully my dreams will come true one of these days. And my other biggest dream is that these children will get some ambassadorial deals from companies, use them for billboards, you know, use them for something, so that other parents will be encouraged, you know, will be motivated, and won't be sad that they have a child like that. That is another prayer, that the children will be used for something. This year, Mr. and Miss Autism Ghana is taking place at 3 Music Headquarters. It's on Saturday, 29th April. It's the last Saturday in April, and also it will start at 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you want to support all that I do, you can reach out to me on all my social media handles at Afi Antonio, AFIANTONIO. All the platforms, you can find me there, and you can reach me on WhatsApp 0246 827 858 0246 827 858. Thank you so much.